Hi, my name's Matthew Robert Payne. If you haven't seen me before, please excuse me for my unshaven uh, way that I'm presenting myself. My shaver broke down and I haven't bought a new one yet. Okay, so I'm going to share a unique way that I developed a prophetic gifting, a really powerful prophetic gifting. At one stage, I developed what I call a sleep sickness. I'd go to bed at night, 10 or 11 o'clock at night. I'd try and wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning and I'd be too tired. I'd roll back and go back to sleep. I'd wake up at 11, go back to sleep, wake up at 1 or 2, go back to sleep, and finally wake up at 5 and be felt that I would have slept enough and would get up, and I'd struggle all my way to 11 o'clock being really tired. Then I'd go back to bed again. And it seemed all I was doing was sleeping. And that would have been okay if it went on for a month or 6 months or whatever. But that went on for 4 years. And in the midst of it, I was told Well, I was told at the beginning of it, I was told midway through it that the voice I was hearing wasn't Jesus, and the voice I was hearing wasn't the Father. And if I wanted to grow at the very beginning of that, I was told that uh, if I wanted to grow with the Lord, I needed to stop having conversations with Jesus and the Father. If I wanted to hear from Jesus, to read the Gospels. If I wanted to hear from the Father, then read the Old Testament prophets. And I was told not to listen to the voice speaking to me, just ignore it. After a certain time, the voice will stop trying to speak to me. So I was in Sydney after that, and I went into that sleep sickness that I described. And I was struggling with that at some stage, and I went to my normal church on a Sunday because I could be up at in the afternoon. So my church service was 6 o'clock at night. So I went, and something the pastor said made me feel compelled to come forward for prayer. And I knelt down and he put his hands on my head. He said, "You've been moving in the prophetic gifting for a while, but God wants to give you an increase, and you're going to be moving a lot more in the prophetic from now on." And I thanked him for his prayer. And as I walked home, I'd been up for 2 nights. I used to force myself to stay awake sometimes all night, sometimes the next night. And I had a friend who was bipolar too, so often didn't go to sleep at night. So when I had a night I wasn't going to go to sleep, he'd drive over to my place and watch videos all night. So this was on the third day. So I'd been up for 2 nights and 2 days. And I was on my way home from the church, and I said to Jesus, I disobeyed what the pastor had said a year before. I said, this is going to be really strange to you, Jesus, strange for me, but how can I prophesy if I'm not allowed to hear your voice? And Jesus said to me, he said very clearly, he said, you're not to have two-way conversations with me, but the only time you're allowed to hear my voice is when I'm prophesying through you. So I thought that was pretty special. And so I just started to walk up to strangers and prophesy over them. And I did thousands and thousands and thousands of prophecies. So It's called prophetic evangelism, where you just walk up to a person and I basically say, excuse me, I've got a gift, and from time to time that gift allows me to get a message for a person. Today I've got a message for you, and then I'll launch into you're 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 really honest. You're a really honest person, and you're so honest that sometimes you get really sad when you have to lie when someone asks something uncomfortable, and you're very honest, which people find you trustworthy, and they like your honesty. You're also really trustworthy. You can be really trusted. And I'll just launch into 3 or 4 character traits about that person as a person. And then after I'd done 3 or 4 of them, the Lord may tell me something about their life and something about their future. And then they'd bid me goodbye, and I'd say goodbye. And I did that thousands of times. Well, in the course of doing it thousands of times, I built up a format how to prophesy really correctly. And because I was doing hundreds, if not thousands, hundreds and thousands of prophecies, I was really sharpening my gift. I was getting very good at being able to just appear in front of anyone and give a prophecy to them. But not only did it sharpen my prophetic gift, it also taught me the character of Jesus, just how beautiful Jesus was. And that's the one thing that deceptive spirit, like an antichrist spirit, who's trying to pretend to be Jesus, the spirit that was deceiving me for years, that's how he can be detected, because he's got a bad personality. He's very legalistic. He's very rule-based, and he'll tell you to do something. If you don't do it, there'll be guilt and shame, and that's not the voice of Jesus at all. So through the thousands and thousands of prophecies, I come to realize that Jesus is a really loving, kind, generous, forgiving, compassionate, full of empathy, full of love. He sees the big picture. He makes you seem like you're really seen. And I developed such a love affair for Jesus. I fell so deeply in love for Jesus, and I went for 4 years with that sleep sickness, I called it. The only way I could battle it is to stay up for 2 nights in a row, and get 3 days worth of happiness a week, and the other 5 days, the other 4 days of sadness, because when you sleep for 17 hours, you're just constantly depressed. So the other thing I did in those 4 years is once a week or twice a week, I'd write 5 articles in a night. If I stayed up a night when my friend didn't come over and watch videos, I'd stay up and write 5 one-hour articles. So over the course of a few years, I built up 850 articles on the internet. Sadly, the article that used to host the website that used to host all the articles went offline, and I lost 800 articles, which is a sad thing. But I cut my teeth for writing, and I eventually went on to write write a lot of books. Now I've got 219 books, and this is just one of 6,400 videos. So I developed intimacy with Jesus through those painful years, and it was real torture going through that. The only way I could be happy and not chronically depressed was to stay up for 2 or 3 days. So that's the painful way I learned to be prophetic and develop deep intimacy with Jesus. I hope you enjoyed that message. God bless.